It's Tuesday, 13th of April 2021. In today's post-match show, we run the rule over Chris Maxwell heroically saving a point in a listless performance against a team of spoilers from East Lancashire. Now, I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Blackpool 0, Accrington Stanley 0.
Ollie's already changed the world. Small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Why are we all smirking?
Like to share it Tim yawning like Brad.
I was laughing because Nick saw me. I thought I'm doing a Brett.
Oh, Tim, you beat me to it. I was just about to say that, doing a Brett. But Brett's was this.
The consummate professional.
I liked the fact that he didn't even try to, take his mouth away from the mic or anything, or, mask it in any way.
I'm sure there was one where he was chewing a Twix or something as well. There was definitely a mouthful of something at some point.
Twirl, I think he has a twirl.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
He's been on the piss last night, hasn't he? He's been on an all dayer in the beer gardens of Worley, wherever he lives. Anyway, everybody, welcome to the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. If I could sum up the performance or that game in a grunt of a noise, it's Tim, where do we start with that?
I don't know. We were saying in the green room, if we call it that. We've normally written loads of notes, haven't we? And I think I've managed about 2/3 of a page, which sums it up. I've normally got reams and reams, and it was. I really. I know nobody likes them. I mean, apart from Chisnall, seemed to think it was a fantastic League One fare and a tactical, really interesting tactically. But games like that just bore the pants off me. They really do. And you just know it's not going to change. You keep thinking it will, but you just know it won't because. Well, I'll go on to discuss it, but Accrington just came with this, with a game plan. To be fair to them, they've been battered the last two games, and we just didn't change it. We just fell for the same tactic all game, and ended up doing exactly the same thing, which was booting it long. And it's just very disappointing, to be honest.
Nick, your mindset after that? How are you feeling? 15 games unbeaten now, so
yeah. I suppose if you take the positives, we didn't lose. We're still in the playoffs, but it was certainly a frustrating evening. Someone said in the WhatsApp chat that them losing 5-1 on Saturday was probably the worst thing that could have happened, and he's right, because I thought they were always going to come with a game plan and try and shore it up a bit. And to give them credit, I suppose they did do that. They frustrated us, and like Tim said, we fell into the trap a bit, didn't we, as the game went on and launched it forward, which is great if you've got Gary Medine up there, but unfortunately we haven't. So it ended up being a frustrating evening for sure.
Matt, this game was crying out for Gary Medine, wasn't it?
It was just crying out for anybody, wasn't it, really, that was able to sort of grab the bull by the horns. It's one of those games where, like tonight, back in the office today, so it had already been a crap day because I'd wearing a bloody suit for the first time in 15 months, which was just horrible.
I went back in as well.
Oh, and then I went to the gym after work, and like these, you have to obviously book a bloody place, and so at 6 o'clock I'm in the gym and I'm sweating my nuts off for like half an hour because that was pretty much all we had time to before we obviously get to try.
Is that try to lose half a stone to get to fit into your suit again?
Yeah, exactly. And then you just think, why did I bother? I should have just stayed home and had a pie, really. Or rushing around for that fare. It was just, I don't know, like dull, really. And we just don't seem to just have the nous sometimes against these so-called shittier sides, do we? To break them through. And, we're struggling against, let's have a look, we've got Wimbledon, Burton to a lesser extent, Plymouth. Rochdale. You know, so
MK.
it just seems to be a consistent.
Northampton.
Yeah, it seems to be a consistent theme with us, doesn't it? But you know, let's play Peterborough every week and we'll smash them out of the site. So weird.
Anyway, on a positive note, imagine if you'd travelled from Hong Kong to watch that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Was Simon there this evening?
Yeah, apparently. So, I feel sorry for him, don't you? All that way, I don't know if it's his first game this season. I don't know if he's managed any others, but if that's his first game, what a one to pick. At least we had to drive home to watch it.
Tim, is it a dichotomy that we can't beat the poorer sides and we beat the good sides? Is that the correct word to use?
Yeah, I think so. I would say. I think it's also bloody frustrating. I don't know which one's the better one to use, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Did you see Phil in the chat? You tried to use the Timism, didn't he?
Did he?
What did he say during the game? Oh, I'll have to. You've made me turn my phone off, so I can't check. So
I remember,
Phil, if you're listening.
I remember the profanity, but I don't remember the posh word that you gave.
Yeah, I think the profanity summed it up better.
There was a lot of C-bombs being dropped in the WhatsApp chat this evening, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Quite a few by me, actually.
There was a collective frustration, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was a general malaise on the pitch today, Tim. A general malaise. And this is the perpetrators of this malaise. Same team. Do we really need to talk about the lineup, Tim?
I think the only thing I would say about the lineup is that it was probably the one I'd have picked. And I said so before, and I was quite pleased. I think he's resting Turton probably for Saturday, expected it to need perhaps a stronger back line. So other than Gabriel coming in, it was same as. Perhaps the only surprise was I thought there might be one more change, but I think he's probably thinking Ballard and Gretterson get them play. I think we can expect Ballard and Gretterson play centre back on Saturday, and he said Friday. Then I think it'd been changed to then. So I think he because they haven't played many games together. I think he thought I'm going to play both for them rather than mess around with that. I think Turton. I think you can expect Turton back in Saturday. Obviously, we've got to think about how we deal with the loss of Embleton. Whether we personally, I'd bring Husband in and push Garbutt further forward, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, I was happy with that. To be fair, I thought that's the team to win the game.
Matt, Nick, anything to add to the team lineup before we're going about the game?
I thought the only possible addition that he might have rested Garbutt for the same reason, he might have brought Husband in, but you just wonder whether Husband, Nekpateta, Mitchell, whether they're actually all fit enough to start, and maybe that was possibly one or two of the reasons why no changes were made, really. So,
Nick, as Steve said there, I wondered if we go to the 4-2-3-1 tonight. That might have served us a bit better.
Yeah, with hindsight, possibly. I think when I saw the lineup, similar to Matt and Tim, overall, I was pretty happy with it and thought, there should be enough quality there if we can get Embleton and Kai on the ball to win the game. But sadly, it didn't happen.
Blackpool were unlucky to get home draw against the mighty Accrington, according to Daniel Critchley. Where's me laughing sound effect gone?
Is he a knobber?
Must be, yeah. Why is a dirty knobber on the Blackpool site? Yeah. Right, hang on a minute. That's him blocked. Try and make your comments now, Daniel. Right, let's go on with the game. When the game's still be able to regulation sitters, yes, we'll come on to that. Josh just said the team should have won the game. Kai missed a sitter. I'll say 2 sitters, Josh. 2 sitters. Right, let's go on with the game then. So I've got my notes up. Firstly, which surprised me, we've never beaten Accrington at home in a league game, which is a surprising stat.
Well, we haven't played them that many times, to be honest, have we? I think I don't think we ever played them in the league when they were originally in the forerunner was in the league. So how many years will we have played them? Perhaps 3 times, maybe 4?
Possibly.
It's a bit annoying that we've never beaten them, isn't it? Nick, let's come to you first. No pre-match bongs today, but Michael Nottingham looks like he'd had a bit of a toke. when he was ballsed up in his own area after 2 minutes. So I was rubbing my hands together thinking, yes, here we go.
Yeah, he looked a
here
bit
we
shaky,
go.
didn't he? Bit of confusion with him and the keeper. Although, to be fair, it's probably more the keeper's fault, I think, because if you don't get a shout, then you've got to clear your lines, haven't you? Which, to be fair, is what he ended up doing. But yeah, it did bring back memories of the start of the season when we looked decidedly shaky at the back, and I was thinking at that point, because they have had some absolute tonkings, haven't they? I think it was they let 7 in against Peterborough, 5 on Saturday, but then before that, I think, or in between that, I think they went and won at Oxford. So it's a funny one, isn't it? Yeah, and it looked like it might be we could be in for a couple of goals at that point, but sadly wasn't to be. I'm just looking at my notes. I think the first one is 7 minutes in, which was Kai with a decent chance. Nice little meg nuts, as they would say on Soccer AM, and fired his shot in. It was a long ball, wasn't it, from Viking out wide, which seemed to be
flicked on by Sims.
A tactic of certainly the first half. And it was a decent chance, and not a bad save, I don't suppose.
One observation I made from that was that Chizzy and Brett were creaming themselves over that save. I thought it was just a regulation save, and it was a poor shot, and it was a great chance from Kai, and he's got to be scoring from there. For me, it was a lazy, kind of languid shot. I want to see him busting the net from there.
Yeah, it's straight at him as well, really, wasn't it? It was. I mean, it did. I thought he got a reasonable amount of power on it, but
yeah,
you've got to be finding an angle, haven't you, somewhere there? For me,
Neil, you've read my mind. Matt, what did you think of that chance?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good chance, and like the lads have already said, it just didn't sort of have enough sort of venom in it, really, did he? When you consider it, he's coming off a great goal away at Lincoln, and he's been playing obviously, pretty well. You'd think he'd be really confident, and maybe he wasn't really under his feet or anything, was he? He just didn't sort of connect it right. But it's one of those where if we'd have got that early goal, it probably would have changed the whole complexion of the game. But as it was, an absolute worldie of a save, not by their goalkeeper, and chance gone. And then, I'm sort of struggling without any notes to think what else we did in the first half, quite frankly.
Tim, what have you got in your notes?
I've got a great. Well, I started with Aki's shaky start, lack of communication. I thought Sims had a reasonable start to the game. The next item I've got after the shot that Nick's referred to by Kai was there's quite a good exchange on the right between Gabriel and Yates on about 10 minutes. Some nice little flicks and touches, which showed, I think, that when we did
poor cross actually that Tim.
Yeah, but when we did get the ball out to the wings, we and to feet, that we had we could show our ability at that point. And then on 13 we had Grant Ward's long range shot, which the keeper sort of like punched away, didn't he? Yeah. Which I thought was, to be fair, it was a decent shot. I mean, it was a good height for the keeper. It was never going to go in. But it was probably one of the early highlights, that we were prepared to take a shot. But I think, what we saw all game, and we never, ever broke it down. I wrote in my notes at this point that, what did I say? Why we need to stop launching the ball forward. And what became apparent as the game went on was that their game plan was not to press our forward line, not to press our defence, but to press the midfield on the next ball. So they were letting us have the ball on the edge of the area. So Ballard could have it, Gretson could have it. But what we saw time and time again, almost like Ballard putting his hands up, like there's no options, because they did a job on Dougal, they did a job on Ward, and they stopped us playing it in to get the triangle passing going. And so all we then do is either goes back to Maxwell, who then launches it, or they launch it, and it just played into Aki's hands. And I don't know why we never got to grips with that. The halftime team talk should be, do not boot it long. It's an easy instruction. Do not kick it long. Get it out wide. Keep possession. Tire them out. Keep playing around and be patient. It will come, but don't boot it long because it's just a complete waste of time. We didn't do anything. We didn't make one chance by doing it.
The first 20 minutes or so reminded me a little bit of Swindon away, where we didn't create an awful lot, but we kept the ball and we just were very, very patient. And I thought it was going to be that sort of game ultimately, but we almost lost we just lost patience, I think, didn't we? And that's why we did go long. But equally, I was thinking that maybe Embleton and Kai should be ones to help out Dougal and Ward in the midfield, and because they were surrounded all the time, weren't they, with Dougal and Ward, which is why we never got anywhere, basically. But, they were only having to come off their wings and be a little bit braver and a little bit deeper and just generally help out. But I know it's hard because you've got, you want the width of the pitch, obviously, but that could come from the fullbacks. If you can get, Embleton and Kai on the ball in the middle of the park as well, then it just gives you more options. And we just didn't seem to be sort of switched on to a plan B at all tonight, did we?
No.
Yeah, snap from Sean. I was thinking that. A lot of people are calling him Gabriel. You heard him as well. I think Chizzy does. It's Gabriel. It's Gabrielle, I think, isn't it? Was it Gabriel?
No, Gabriel. It's Gabriel.
Yeah, you got it wrong then.
Yeah, it's as in the angel Gabriel, but not Gabrielle the singer.
Who was calling Gabrielle? Someone was calling him Gabrielle anyway. Anyway, but yeah, we started the game okay though. The first 15 minutes, we looked strong, but they just imposed their game on us, and we didn't really have a reply to it or a way. We didn't adapt.
No, we didn't. Like Tim and Matt have said, we just ended up falling into the trap and going long. And they weren't creating loads of chances, but you could see they were working very hard off the ball and on the shape. And it was just a really bitty game, wasn't it? Loads of niggling fouls, and the ref seemed to want to lecture everybody for 2 minutes on every foul, and it just never really got going. And there was a lot of times when the ball's up in the air, and that's no good for us. We need to get it down on the floor. That's when we play our best football. And we, as the game went on, they came into it more and more and imposed their game plan, and we didn't really have an answer for it.
Did anyone mention Grant Ward's? I've just written Grant Ward foot like a traction engine.
We covered that.
It's a decent shot.
Yeah.
That's just picking up on Nick's point, this thing about the ref. I think that's epitomised. Do you remember the one on the left where Jerry Yates has been fouled and he's got up and he's actually got free and goal. The rest, after he's already got up and it's clear he's got an advantage, he's brought it back to give a free kick, and then he tries to take a quick free kick, and then he brings it back again and because he wants to give him a yellow card, and it's like. He was a spoiler that refs should be sat in the background and only effectively show the face when they need to. He wanted to make himself centre of attention for some reason, and
Brett loved him though, didn't he?
Oh, and it just added to the, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word to actually describe how dull that game was, and you're gonna have to leave it with me because it was dull as ditch water, wasn't it?
They've done a job on us, essentially.
Yeah,
they've done a job.
Yeah, which is, I suppose if I was an Accrington fan, I might look at that and think, actually, that was possibly our last chance of getting in the playoffs. So I wanted a little bit more from us, perhaps. But
they had to win that to push and have any chance of getting in the playoffs. And why play for a draw?
But as we've mentioned, they're coming on the back of a hiding at the weekend, so it was maybe a bit more self-preservation and. But
they've got nothing to they've got nothing to preserve, though, have they? Because they're not going down, so why not go for it? I don't get it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm with you, and maybe that was the fear that if they did open it up, they could have got battered. But I don't know really. But they did do a job on us, and if that's what they came for, fair play to them. They got what they wanted, I guess, really, which was presumably a point and maybe something to nick. They nearly got it, obviously, but.
Right, let's try and irk something out of the rest of this first half. I've just noted down two very silly free kicks, one after the other, given away by Dougal. One on 19 minutes. McConville's just clipped it against the wall and it's gone wide. And he's done a silly push on 26 minutes right at the edge of the box, but it wasn't spotted, if anyone remembers this.
Yeah.
So he's got a propensity to do that, hasn't he?
He does like a niggly foul, doesn't he, Dougal, and picks up his fair share of yellow cards as a result. Don't they? They never seem to be really bad either. They're almost like telepathic. The ref can see what he's doing a mile off, and he ends up. He didn't get a card today, but I thought he was actually going to get one. But the ref was getting out his little spray can again, wasn't he? Which he did like to spray a bit of a line down, didn't he today? Never seen a ref use it as much. Sorry,
liked his shaving foam, didn't he?
I know he did. I've never seen anybody get it out as much. I thought he was going to card him on that one you're on about, John, and thankfully he didn't.
Yeah, he sort of did like an American block tackle, didn't he? American football block tackle, didn't he, on one of them?
Yeah.
So it was a very strange sort of effort at a tackle. But
it was definitely cardable, that, I'd have thought.
Yeah,
on another day. You wouldn't have complained if he got it, would you?
No.
Here's one for our knobber who's in the chat. Chizzy and Brett Seamus Conley loving the new Joe Garner. Oh, an adoration for Morecambe all night. It was painful to listen to them two tonight. And as much as we love Brett, it was painful from the pair of them.
You know what I was thinking? I saw it earlier on in the week, and I think Tom had put it on online from the third tier that the Gas Cast, I think that's what they're called there, the Bristol Rovers podcast, are now the official commentary team for Bristol Rovers home games as from now, I think, until whenever. Yeah. And you just think that is such a not brave move by the club. It's obviously giving a little bit more of a fan's perspective on stuff. And I'm not saying that it's something that we'll ever get the opportunity to do, but you, as fans, you were probably more likely to listen to other fans than you would, someone who just, doesn't know the difference, quite frankly, between, Kenny Dougal, Jordan Gabriel, Luke Gabriel, bloody Seamus Coleman, whatever, It's just, it just goes on and on and on every week.
I can't remember us signing Seamus back on loan. I thought it was still Everton.
There's one of the not one of the main people on the Gas, but Tom had I've forgotten
Brett
the name now.
I thought Brett was on the Gas tonight.
Yeah, what she? I think it was just called Kaz. Yeah, Kaz. That was it. She was really good, and she's like not one of the main presenters, is she? I think if you're going to let fans do it, what you don't want is one of those cheesy commentaries where people are just shouting down the mics. You actually want a professional commentary, but maybe with a slight fans twist on it.
I guess the last game of the season, obviously, we play Bristol Rovers, don't we? So, maybe we can tune into their commentary.
I'll definitely be doing that.
Yeah.
Thing is, you've got Colin Greenall and Ben Burgess, fantastic commentators. I really like them too. Yeah, and I think they should be given the mics more often.
To be honest, Jed Mills isn't a bad shout. I reckon he could do a half decent job. But I'm actually really, really sick of. I love Brett to bits, but together it's just it's not good, is it?
It's fucking awful. Oh dear, coughing and sneezing as well. That doesn't go down well, does
it? Oh, hang on a minute. The bar's in the way. I can't see what's going on.
To be fair, the first half, I think the sun was in his eyes a bit, wasn't it?
At least we saw some pretty patterns on the camera lens. That was like the highlight.
What was that about?
It was like, yes, with your sunglasses on. I mean, that's the compromise of moving the camera to that side, isn't it? That
but if you've got professional video equipment, Tim, they have filters and all proper, lenses that sort all that sort of stuff out. This is obviously Brett's probably doing the live video feed on his iPhone, isn't he?
I think it's pretty poor that when they're watching the game, I don't know why they don't have a monitor. When they say that they can never see a replay. Why don't they have a monitor showing the iFollow game with the sound muted down on a laptop or something?
Yeah. And
then they can see the replays. I just don't understand it.
Why don't they do what iFollow does and show a replay and then you miss 5 minutes of the match? That's always good, isn't it?
There was a couple of key moments that we were missing as well, weren't there? Because the replays.
Yeah.
There was one point. Yeah, it's just we can't get back in the ground soon enough.
No, No.
So I have to put up with all this shite. It doesn't help when there's a lot of shite on the pitch as well. But anyway, Tim, I've written down 42 minutes, and you'll like this. Grant Ward's Pele-esque flick. It wasn't any goal-scoring opportunities, but who remembers it?
Yeah. He did. Did he flick it? He didn't flick it. Did he flick it over his head or something? Remember out, didn't he? And completely took the man out.
Oh, it was a joy to watch.
It was one. There wasn't many highlights in that first half, was there? I'm
done with my notes.
I've got 35 minutes. As soon as we play it on the floor, massive improvement. But we didn't seem to learn the lesson from it. You know, I'm banging the same well-beaten drum, I think, tonight with the same comments. But as soon as we got it out in the channels and got it out of that middle, and didn't try and play the game they wanted to play it, then we did look a lot better. But we didn't keep doing it for some reason. We kept plugging away.
Well,
Matt, then how did you feel at half time?
Well, it's funny really. Half time couldn't come soon enough because my dishwasher had just finished and I needed to unload it and load it before the start of the second half, and that was about as exciting as it got.
I've had a dishwasher incident today. It didn't drain the water. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? There's like a weird code, like E24 code. I was error message. I was like, shit, what do I do? I just turned it on again and it fixed the problem.
Yeah, that's it. Turn it off and turn it on
Sent
again.
It round again, yeah.
Typical IT bloody answer, that, isn't it?
Not kick it. That's what I think. Kick it.
Yeah, just like get the top of it and just give it a whack.
Oh dear. Yeah, so that was I was just glad the first half was over so I could concentrate on my domestic chores, really.
Nick, how did you feel at half time?
Well, it was frustrating, but I was thinking, 45 minutes to go. It can't be as poor second half as it was first half.
How wrong you were.
And they did actually have the ball in the net, didn't they, just on half time? But it was disallowed for off goal. I think it was 2 or 3 of them offside. But yeah, I was thinking, like Tim says, we get it down and play it. We could still have enough to beat them. And then I'm just looking at my notes for second half. I think they started the brighter of the two teams.
Free header from Bishop, 1 minute in the corner.
Yeah, from the corner, which was all of our own doing. And then other than that, Kai had a chance where he flashed it across as sort of a shot cross and keeper saved it. And then the next one was obviously the big one on 55, 56 minutes 55. With Mr. Kai, where
another languid finish.
Yeah, I mean, he got a decent enough connection on it. It was a decent build up, and there was a bit. I was looking back through the chat before, and there was a couple of people saying they thought Yates should have taken it, but it was kind of under his feet a bit for Yates, wasn't it? And I think he did the right thing in setting Kai up. Decent save, but from there you're thinking hit the back of the net, especially when its chances are so few and far between. Then obviously blasted the second chance over, didn't he, from the save?
Who said lack of venom? Did you say lack of venom before, Tim? Who was it who said that?
I did. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah.
That was, for me, again, from Kai, lack of venom in the shot. I mean, he could have feigned to shoot and just cut inside and sold a dummy and then easily just knocked in. It was got to be scoring chances like that after the first one he's missed.
Absolutely, and like as Nick said, in a tight game as it was and is at that particular point, it's crucial that you get the opportunity. I mean, it just, I don't know. Could Yates have done sort of better in terms of having a shot himself? Maybe it surprised Kai, but then he had plenty of time to pick his spot and smash it really. But he just didn't, and it was a good save again. A better save than the first effort in the first half. And unfortunately, fell on his wrong foot to, for the rebound, which obviously got, waste blasted over the bar. But, just disappointing because you look at that and you just think we're not going to get many more chances the way this game's going. And unfortunately, that was the case, really. So disappointing.
Tim, Josh just said that it's the difference between a player team and an automatic team. That's
I was more,
nail on head.
Yeah, I was more disappointed with Kai's follow-up shot, to be honest. And I think Mac has mentioned it in the chat that if he'd shown a bit of calm there rather than just a rush of blood to the head, he effectively, the keeper was down. He had an empty net and he balloons it over the bar. And I think trying to sort of bring it back on Yates and say he should have done something is applying the benefit of hindsight, because if he's played,
it was under his feet, wasn't it? As Nick said,
it wasn't. It's well under his feet, and he's also with the balls under his feet, he's laid Kai in perfectly.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, I think Yates has done the right thing. So with the benefit of he doesn't know that Kai is going to have the language shot and then miss the follow up, and so he's made completely the right call. He had his back to the goal, if I remember rightly, and a defender on him, right behind him. So what was he going to do? Try and turn the defender and hit it probably straight into the defender. He's done exactly the right thing, and then we've wasted the chance. It's a chance is.
It's funny, really. I mean, I'm not dissing Kai, but there's certain footballers like him, and I'll probably put. I know it's early. Is it early days? I don't know. I can imagine Embleton not sort of being similar. They sort of try and pass the ball all the time in the back of the net, and there's one or two other players similar where you just want to put the laces through it, don't they? I don't know if it's a technique thing or a confident thing or whatever, but
I suppose if it's your wrong foot, you're going to try and take it on your side foot, aren't you? Because you tend to get more control, don't you? With your side foot on your weak foot.
Yeah, perhaps. But I mean, it's as Josh mentioned earlier. This is why Peterborough can bang goals in left, right, and centre, and we're a little bit behind them in that regard, aren't we? As good as we have been playing, obviously. We do the sexy goals and not necessarily the dirty goals, don't we?
I was just thinking of something to say that I better not. Alex Woodward Tim's just said, when do you think Homers will get a chance? And it'll be interesting to see who fills in for Embleton at the weekend. So let's just talk about Brad Holmes very briefly. A lot of people are saying, or the comms were saying, oh, you can't blood him in a game like this. Why can't you? If he's good enough, if he's good enough, he's old enough. You're not going to 10 minutes.
You're not going to concede a goal because he's on the pitch, are you?
Of course, no. I don't get it.
And listen, knowing, I mean, I only know him from being a young lad, but knowing, you see how direct he is and how confident he is in his own ability. With Sims, I thought Sims had a reasonable first half, but as his frustrations grew in the second, he just seemed to concede more and more free kicks, soft free kicks. It wasn't the only one, to be fair. So it's not a bash Sims time, but you're not going to take Yates off. So if you're going to do anything, you might take Embleton off.
Or Embleton or Sims for me.
Or Sims would be the obvious. Or you're going to push Garbutt up and then maybe push Kai right up with Yates just to try something different. But as the game goes on, I know we've got a couple of chances still to talk about, but as the game goes on, it becomes more and more frustrating that we just think if we just keep doing the same thing that hasn't worked all game, that at some point it'll come right for us. And it might have done, to be honest. We've got another chance to talk about where it could have come right for us. But, if you don't change things, you end up, looking back and thinking, what if we had? And there's been.
It was obvious though, Tim. It was obvious we weren't going to do things. We had to change it. We had to.
And what frustrates me a little bit is, and I'm a bit biased, I think, but Sims has come in very raw and gets his chance, and yet our lad, who's raw, doesn't get a chance.
Great point.
And when do you do it? And I think he's been a bit unfortunate in that all the games he's been sub have actually proved to be very tight. And against some of the better teams where we're winning or drawing and we think we're going to hang on, I can sort of understand that. I can understand Critch's point. Today, I can understand why, but what he's basically saying to Brad is, I don't trust you. But he trusts an Everton lad who's only a couple of years older than him, who hasn't played a lot of football either. So, and who's starting to pant a bit and looking a bit like he's frustrated.
No,
I don't actually see what you've got to lose.
Blackpool John has just asked Tim, how tall is Brad Holmes?
He must be 5'11", 6 foot maybe.
Big enough then.
He's not as big as Sims. There's no doubt he's not as big as Sims, but banging the ball from the edge of our penalty area to Sims hadn't worked for the previous 75 minutes. So why was it going to work in the last 15 minutes?
Yeah. Cliff just a quality point that Tim, get Coach Critchley on to answer. Not on tonight, is he? Where's the
He's
coach?
licking his wounds, I think, Coach Critchley tonight.
Okay, back to the game. I've got in my notes, 62 minutes was the Seamus Coleman incident, and I've put a little smiley face.
It's bad when you're marking those down as your match highlights.
63 minutes, if you can see that, viewers, yawning down the mic. So those are pretty much the highlights of the second half.
Just for the benefit of those who didn't watch the game, John, you better explain yourself.
Well, we've explained it before, haven't we? Brett was yawning down the mic, and Brett also said Seamus Coleman. Was it? Oh no, it's Chizzy that said Seamus Coleman.
No, I thought it was Brett, actually. No, it was Brett and
who corrected who?
Him, yeah.
They probably both did. They're both useless. But anyway, we missed the Garbutt hitting the inside of the post, by the way.
We haven't, Matt. That was in 72 minutes.
Sorry, begging your pardon.
There was before that.
Consummate broadcast professionals. Go on, Nick. Go on.
There was the penalty shout from Accrington, wasn't there, where long throw came in. I think we'd had a bit of confusion at the back and put it out. Long throw came in, header flicked on. We headed it out, and Sims has challenged the Aki player, and he's... No,
he hasn't challenged him, Nick. I've put Sims allowing an unchallenged flick on. Yeah.
And he
didn't even challenge. He didn't even do anything.
He screamed and gone down, and they're all shouting for a penalty. I thought it was incredibly soft if he'd have given that. It was a dive for me. That I didn't think it was a penalty at all. I don't know what you guys think.
Same.
I was saying
no chance. But there was plenty of shouts for it, wasn't there? And,
well, there will be from that.
Maybe it influences what happens later. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, that's a great point. Matt, now's your time to shine. 72 minutes. Garbutt whips one against the post. Desperately unlucky not to go in, and a great shot from nothing.
Yeah, it was a good little bit of play, I think, between possibly Karkai and Embleton off memory, and then Embleton laid it off to Garbutt, who I think initially it was on his right foot, and then he just dragged it back onto his left, and he must have been a good 25 yards out. And whether the keeper saw it late, I don't know, but it's just the way that tonight went, wasn't it? That it hit the inside of the post and didn't fall into Jerry Yates's path or anything like that. It just, cannoned away, and that was it. And then you really were thinking, it's not one of those games where you can look back and say it's not been our night, but these are the fine margins, aren't they? Really, that Karkai in the first half and again in the second, and hitting the inside of the post. On another day, as they say, you could have been 3-0 up and then we'd all be happy and all the rest of it. But, it just wasn't one of those games tonight, was it? And, it was a good effort. And, unfortunate, obviously, that it struck the post and didn't nestle in, unfortunately.
Nick, Luke Garbutt was having a bit of a, what's the word where you do a lot in a short space of time? A purple patch. 2 minutes later, he's had a good burst down the left-hand side. He's been fouled. The guy gets yellow card.
Yeah.
And poor free kick from Kai. Just telegraphed where he was going to put it and put it there.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a waste, wasn't it? After good work from Garbutt, and like I say, he'd had a good couple of minutes there because some of his set-piece delivery wasn't brilliant tonight, but we know he's capable of, what he did with that shot, and then he had a good burst forward, and things like that were few and far between, weren't they? So you've got to try and take one of these opportunities when they come along, and it was a poor free kick for me.
So Tim, this quarter of an hour of the game to go. Talk us through the final 15 minutes of the game and the penalty that. Very soft penalty that Colby Bishop thankfully missed. Racky.
Yeah, I think what I noticed, particularly in that latest stages, there was a couple of examples early on. Actually, was that we were making silly mistakes, and you got me worried now which way around to call him, but Gabriel made a couple of.
I know what you mean.
Wrong way.
Yeah, there would be. And there was another one where he'd made a mistake, and he'd basically just given the ball away, and the Aki player cut inside and then hit it over, which, you know, with a better shot, it could have really troubled Maxwell. And you could just see, the longer it went on, you thought it was more and more likely that Accrington were going to try to nick something out of this. You could almost, you know, again, it was on the chat, wasn't it? You know, you can see them nicking this 1-0. And then we have this, you know, and I go back to that previous penalty shout, and they were in the ref's face, particularly the two centre midfielders, all game. And I think he's one of the worst refs we've had, despite Chisnell eulogising over his performance. I just thought the lectures that I think it was Nick mentioned earlier about the lectures, he must have spent, I think you put a stopwatch on it, 4 or 5 minutes in that second half lecturing players after free kicks over nothing. There were little niggly fouls. There's nothing in them.
It wasn't a bad, you know, it wasn't a dirty game.
Not a dirty game, no.
And even if I'm slightly exaggerating at 5, I'm not exaggerating when I say 3 or 3.5. It was every single free kick. No time added on for that. And there was a couple of times when their players went down. We had Gretterson down. Their guy down in the left, in the bottom left, in the top left. We had Gretterson down. We had Embleton down, who got called every player in the team, apart from the one he was.
That was so funny.
I mean, he was down for at least a minute. He was down for at least a minute.
Alex Woodward had to laugh when Chizzy and Brett listed pretty much the full team when Embleton was down for a minute.
Brett did say afterwards, didn't he? Alex. He said, I need glasses.
I think you do. But you know, and there was all those bitty stoppages, and yet I generally thought, and I'll go back, I have to reel back from this afterwards. I generally thought that when the 90 minutes came up, there was going to be about 6 or 7 minutes of stoppage time, and then we get 3, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, where's that come from? But the free kick was really, really soft, and
penalty.
Sorry, the penalty was really, really soft. I just thought he went down. And the ref just felt like he did all game, to be honest. If
couldn't wait to blow his whistle, could he? Straight away. It's all about me. This
all through the game, you know, the Aki players, if they were going into the corners, into the defensive corners, and we were following up, they'd go flat on the floor, free kick straight away. There was never any debate about it, and it was so frustrating. And so it was with the penalty. And you're looking at it and thinking, there we go. You know, they've done a job on us, and thankfully.
Captain Marvel comes to the rescue.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was hit fairly straight, wasn't it? But a lot of keepers go early and commit, and Maxwell didn't. And secondly, it was actually still hit with a fair bit of power, and it could have wriggled under his body. So a little bit of kudos to Maxwell there for me, because I think he, you know, it's a point saved at the end of the day, that, isn't it? And it could be crucial at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So every credit to Maxi.
Nick, so I'm just looking back at some stats, and the last game we lost was on the 6th of February against Ipswich Town, 2-0. So we've got a lot to be thankful for, really, particularly from Maxwell for saving us.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, if the main thing is if it's going to be a crap game like that and you're not going to play well, that you don't get beat. And we've kept the run going. Like Tim said, it was a decent. It was a well-struck penalty, but it was close to Maxwell. But he's still got to, you know, have a strong arm and a strong wrist and make the save. And thought for a second it might just have nipped under him, but it didn't. And it was a really soft penalty, though. I think someone's put in the comments there weren't many Blackpool players protesting it.
There you go.
I think there was.
That's a telltale sign normally, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But it looked really soft. Obviously, you see it live and then you get the quick replay. But yeah, you're thinking, do you not
think they were that gutted about it being given away
Possibly.
It was a bit like us, like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like
can't believe it.
Rather than it was a bit of a lethargic performance, always about, wasn't it, tonight? And I think maybe the reaction was a reflection of that more than it was. You look at it; it's so soft.
Yeah,
that normally you'd have expected all sorts of protest. Not that it's going to ever change the ref's mind, is it? Once he's given it, I've never seen a ref change his mind and not give a penalty because people bawl and shout at him for 5 minutes.
No, but yeah, Maxwell to the rescue, thankfully, and I think justice was done there, definitely.
Matt, interesting comment from AMAC. The unbeaten is run to start to lose its value if there are so many home draws. Now, I know Oxford have won tonight, and they're picking up a lot of points, they're scoring a lot of goals. So I think we do need to keep our eye on this, because if we're drawing, we get beat by Sunderland. I said this in the week to Tim. Stop putting directions up to like Wembley almost, and saying, "Oh, fans are going to be back in Wembley." That talk needs to stop. Everyone, remember Bradford.
Exactly. We've been there before, haven't we? Unfortunately, those of us of a certain vintage, we've seen that. We've seen that Devon Lock type of situation before now, haven't we? So, we'll have less of that. Thanks very much.
It was him.
Excitable
it's
youngsters
him.
over there.
Yes.
No, I was talking generally
bollocks. You would have posted that if we were 18, like I said.
He's already Ian Ashley and already booked a bus and everything apparently.
Have you booked your hotel at Wembley already, Tim? Yeah.
No, I've had my haircut for Wembley though.
Yeah, it's going back to your point about all the too many draws and all that sort of carry on.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered if we draw all our home games. We've just got to pick up a couple of 3 wins, haven't we? I mean, what have we got left now? 6 games, 7 games, 7 games, haven't we?
7.
Yeah. So whilst there's teams around us that win a couple, lose a couple, obviously, if we win 1 and draw 3, for example, then we sort of already get caught up. But I mean, Lincoln winning tonight again, that puts pressure on us. Pompey lost though, and Sunderland
they drew Pompey, did they?
Pompey drew, sorry, beg your pardon.
They missed a penalty.
They dropped points, sorry.
And Sunderland, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the main winners are, Hull and Peterborough will be happy with all the results tonight, and Charlton and Oxford are still in the hunt, and even Ipswich are, obviously, despite that loss, but they haven't really had that sort of reaction from changing their manager that 1 or 2 of us thought they probably would do. So, not knowing the future fixtures of Oxford and Charlton.
What did you predict? What did you predict, by the way, Matt? Phil's asking.
Yeah, well, prior to tonight, we'd played 4 games and I'd picked 3 wins and a draw, which is what we did. But for tonight, I'd put a win. So. Right. I'm 2 points down, as it were, but then I've got 2 losses against Sunderland, and the way Sunderland are going at the moment.
God, yeah, look at that draw, loss.
Yeah, you think we're in with a chance again. Now, I would imagine I might be putting the kiss of death on things here, but I would imagine it'd be a lot more open game than what we experienced tonight. So it might actually help us. But obviously we've got Embleton missing, so that'll be an interesting decision that Critchley needs to make in terms of who he puts in, whether Mitchell's fit enough. He didn't play tonight, and obviously he was missing on Saturday, which is a bit strange they didn't come on tonight, obviously, or whether there's anybody else that he could possibly think about throwing in. But it's
I think he's going to push. I think he's going to push Kai up personally. I think he's got in his sense. He'll push Kai into Phil's role.
That's where he plays his best game, doesn't he?
Yeah. If he pushes him up into like an Embleton role off Yates, and
husband at left back, push Garbutt up, and then your other decision is on the right. What you do on the right, but you could either have, you could put Mitchell there or whatever, or I mean, personally, I think Ellis Sims needs to come off the bench for the next one. That's my view. I
think, I mean, from what I see about Sunderland, obviously everything goes through, or a lot goes through McGeady, doesn't he? And he plays sort of left midfield, but obviously he wanders around a bit as well. So I'd imagine that Turton will be more disciplined than Gabriel in that particular position. The rest of the Sunderland squad, obviously, they've got Charlie Wyke who scores goals all over the place. But he's a big typical number 9, isn't he? And I would like to think that our centre halves, they've been there and done that with Gillingham in recent weeks, haven't they? So it's not going to be as a shock to them to come across somebody like that. It's a massive game for both teams.
Biggest game of the season.
Game of the season. Yeah. Well, this is what it's all about, isn't it?
They'll be thinking they've got to win it, haven't they, to still be in with a chance of automatic. So I'm sure they'll be having a good go.
It's going to be a big one anyway. So let's move on to player ratings. Tim, let's start with you. Chris Maxwell. What a guy. Like Ace Rimmer off Red Dwarf. What a guy.
I'm good. I mean, I don't think he did do anything. Can't remember him doing anything wrong tonight. The only disappointing thing is he was dragged into that boot it long mode, but he was put under pressure a couple of times by Ballard and whatever. But then he's made
press as well caused a lot of that, I guess.
Yeah. So he was tested. It's the first time tonight where I think he's looked a bit uncomfortable with it, but I think that's because Ballard and Gretson were having to pass it back as much as they were, and there wasn't a big gap between him and the centre forwards when he was doing it. But he survived all that and he saved a penalty. So it's a comfortable 8, I think.
Nick, did the dreams come true for Jordan Gabriel?
Not his best game. Did give the ball away a couple of times. I'm not going to pull him up for the pen because I thought didn't think it was, to be honest. Kept a clean sheet, I suppose, haven't we? So can't be too critical on that basis. I'll go a steady 7.
Luke, post Garbett, Matt.
Yeah, sort of quiet game, wasn't it, really, for, everybody, quite frankly. But, I mean, it was...
Played an attacking threat for 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and defensively it was sound, and it was just a 7 out of 10. It was an awkward one to give any less than that because you can't really criticise them for keeping a clean sheet, but you just can't give them any more.
You want more from your match winners. Garbett's a match winner for me. You kind of want to do a bit more from him.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll give him 7.
Yeah. Dan Ballard, Tim, had a tough game, tough evening's work today, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and they were in his face. I think hopefully he'll learn a lot from that game because if you're going to play it out, if you're going to play in a team that plays it out from the back, you've got to think out of the box, and we just kept doing the same thing. And I don't know whether I blame him or whether I blame the management team for not telling them to do it different, because they clearly didn't tell them to do it different at half time, because if they did, Dan and his compadre at the centre of defence just carried on ignoring whatever instructions were given. So I've got to assume there wasn't an instruction. So I'm sort of sympathetic to him there. It's a tepid 7 though. What's that?
What's that?
The Viking. Either that or John's got a new doorbell.
I thought that was
that one.
Love that
sound effect.
But I'm going to use it for the Timism as well.
Yeah, I think there'll probably be a lot of 7s tonight. It was another 7 for me, same as Tim gave for Ballard.
All right, who played in midfield then? Matt, you can have Grant Ward.
Yeah, apart from his Pele thing in the middle, really, he was suffocated, wasn't he, tonight, unfortunately? He was, trying his damnedest, but really, he was just struggling to get any sort of domination in the middle of the park, which was, what's really been his success over recent weeks. And, one of his quieter games. So, but, didn't do an awful lot wrong. Just wasn't able to push his on, unfortunately. So, steady 7.
King Kenny, Tim, not so regal this evening.
No, and I think we're being a bit kind with the scores, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, it's hard to give them any less, really, in a way.
No, it's not. because Kenny Dougal tonight
I'm
just
with
wasn't
Tim.
at the races.
I'm with Tim.
There's one area where he actually started to do it a bit, and I am watching my notes. He started to get involved, but the fact I'm writing, when was it? Somewhere between the 55th and the 72nd minute.
The way that camera angle is, it looks like you're going to pick up a great big piece of paper.
The fact that that's where I've written it down says that my favourite player did not turn up tonight. I'm going to give him a 6.
We did bypass the midfield a lot, though, didn't we?
We did. But it wasn't brilliant today. And listen, I'm the first one to sing his praises, but I think a 7 for me is a good score, and I think this it was nowhere near on form tonight.
Nick, you've got Elliot Embleton.
Well, after that, 2. No. Let's have
6 for me if I was rating.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I could go as high as a 7, so I'll go a 6 for Elliot.
The frustrating thing is, but when some of our best stuff was when he did get on the ball, wasn't it? But it must have been about 2 minutes in the game.
No end product for me.
And that's the thing. You look at the last. Was it? I can't think it was the game against Lincoln or the game before that, but. I know a lot of people are concerned that he's not playing against Sunderland, but there have been a couple of performances recently where you just think, he's replaceable, isn't he? He's just the way that
be all and end all, is it?
No, of course it isn't.
I do agree with you. It's not like, we can't possibly beat them because he's not playing.
I think it's a blessing in disguise. It'll force Kai to play in that number 10 role, and I think that's his best position. That's Phil's. Banged that drum, and he was right. He was right. Anyway, missed 2 massive chances in the game, Matt.
He did.
He
did, and it's funny really because it's one of those where you just think when he got the ball, those 2 sort of opportunities aside, I thought he looked like the only player who might have created anything. So it was a bit. Just a sort of a frustrating performance for different reasons in a way. We've criticised his work rate in the past and things like that. And I thought tonight he worked as hard as anybody else. The ball just obviously didn't, fall to him, and he just didn't take those 2 chances, which were obviously critical in the end. So I said before about 7, I was really talking about sort of the other guys, but I think you've got to look at.
He's not looking at the camera, is he?
No, I'm not. No, I think 6 is fair enough, really, because like I said, I think most things actually came through him. 5 plus 1, that's right. Yeah, that's a 6. That's it.
Insulting my co-presenters there. What a disgrace. Right, Tim, Ellis Sims. Gimme.
Well, he started. The best I can say is he started off quite well, and then he became the frustrating Ellis Sims from the January and February, who was just fouling people a lot, and I was very, very. I gave him a lot of praise in the last game because I felt that he used his body well, and today we went back to not using the body well. He was very poor in that. I mean, that flick on that you mentioned, John, he stood 5 yards off the man he's meant to be marking and didn't jump. And that's criminal. There's a long throw coming in, and that could have cost us big style.
And he's a big man as well.
He's a big lad. He must be 6'3", 6'4". If he stands right up the backside of that player, he's not flicking it on.
No.
End of. He's not doing it. And that's, he's got a lot of work to do on I don't know whether it was just, to be fair, I just think it was a lack of concentration, but you've got to switch on. You've got to be switched on all the time. It is a 5 for me.
I thought he was quite petulant tonight as well with his disciplinary.
Yeah, there's a few things as well where he was being a bit petulant towards his teammates as well. I thought a couple of times where he was like hands going up, like, why didn't you run? impossible. It just wasn't. And this is why I think I get a little bit frustrated that we didn't try and change it, because, you know, him or Embleton were giving very, very little in the second half. And I struggle to believe you could even have put Turton into midfield and pushed Ward up a bit, whatever. But you do. I generally think he was holding Turton back he doesn't want to risk Turton not being fit to play on Saturday.
Yeah. I think he and Mitchell.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah.
We've not actually discussed the substitutions or the complete lack of them, have we?
Well, we have from the point of view of Brad Holmes not coming on, haven't we? But I mean, unless you're going to change it defensively, the only options were Mitchell or Holmes, really, weren't they? And that's with no Medine, with no Anderson, with no CJ. We are very, very limited in relation to our options, and no Virtue.
Blackpool Johnny, do you remember this when he just gave up and the keeper was in no man's land? He just gave up. Forgotten about that.
I've forgotten about that one. To be fair, Johnny, and you're right. And if he hadn't given up, I think he'd have got there.
Yeah.
No, it's a 5.
Nick, just to round things off, Jerry, I'm not going to roll out his comedy chant tonight either.
No, it didn't really happen for him tonight, did it? No lack of effort, which, you know, he always puts a shift in. Didn't get a lot of service, but it just didn't really happen for him tonight, did it? So I'd probably go a 6 as well, I think, for Jerry, which isn't often, is it? He's normally right up there. So
yeah.
You just wish one of those car chances to top for him, don't you?
And we'd probably be talking about 3 points, wouldn't we?
And we'd be in a hell of a lot better mood than we are. And this general malaise that is sweeping over the pod at the moment. Rate the manager then, Matt.
5. I think there was a point in I don't know if it was the first, the second half, where there was a very strange refereeing decision, and you could see him, he was going berserk on the sideline, which you'd like to see that from your manager to show that there's obviously the passion there. But I'm just sort of befuddled by his lack of substitutions. I know we're not blessed with massive options at the moment.
You can make a formation change though, can't you?
Exactly. There was something in those, I would say, 2 attacking substitutions we could have made that might have made a difference. But maybe there's something that we don't know about that squad at the moment in terms of fitness that Critchley does. So, yeah, there you go, 5.
Tim, Penny, for your thoughts on the manager?
Yeah, I think there's two major criticisms you can make, and I've touched upon them both during the course of the pod. One is, unless the players were completely ignoring him, there was no instruction given at half-time to try and bypass the pressing of the 2 central midfield. And the way to do that was to get down the wings more than we did. But we kept doing the same thing over and over again. And if players aren't playing to his instruction there, then he should yank them off, and not literally yank them off, but you know what I mean. Pull them off. That's even worse.
Let's move on.
Let's substitute them. Sean's creased himself. But yeah, he should. I've got to say there must be no instruction given. So if there's no instruction given to do with that, and there's no attempt to change the pattern of play in the second half and to freshen things up, when you've got 2 players in the forward positions underperforming, then it's got to be a generous 5. I nearly went 4. I nearly did go 4. I'll go with. I'm being generous with the 5.
Well, Nick, your turn. Just to round this off.
I'll keep it brief. I'll go 5 as well.
All right. I'm doing 4. So there you go.
I think to finish on a positive, though, like I said after the game.
Man of the match first. Man of the match.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go on. Maxwell.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. Right, Nick, away you go.
No, I was just going to say, we didn't get beat. The unbeaten run continues. We're still in the playoffs. So despite that frustration tonight, there's still a hell of a lot to be happy for, isn't there? We'd have all taken this at the start of the season, and we're in with a shout. So up the pool.
Well said, Nick. I feel a lot better now.
I appreciate what you've done, Nick, but it doesn't make me feel any better after watching that. There's nothing to really drag you up, can it, after watching that kind of performance? You know what I mean?
It reminded me, I said it in the chat, it reminded me, when you go watch one of these Sunday League games in April, like now, where you've had a really dry period, the ball seemed to bounce all over the place. And from the first minute, you just knew it was going to be crap, didn't you? Yeah. And it never lifted itself above that first perception, and it depresses you. And that's what football does to you, doesn't it?
Just try to positive. Dragging it back down again.
What's that filmer?
You didn't do it. You tried to drag us up, but we're not having it.
Yeah, we're pulling him back. We're resisting.
Brilliant.
It was like one of those Sunday League games when the pitches are rock hard at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was very bouncy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be too much air in the ball. I don't know.
So we've got an early kickoff, haven't we? Sorry, John, on Saturday. So have we decided what we're doing on?
Well, it means we're going to be coming on when the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral is going to be on. So some people are saying it might be a bit disrespectful. So I don't know. What does everyone think?
I'm not on Saturday, so I'll leave it to you guys. Maybe do usual. What do we do normally?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. I think that's
unless you do it early.
Do it a bit earlier,
or 4:30 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the funeral's meant to last, to be honest. So it's limited, isn't it, as regards how many people can be there anyway. So it's not like a lot of pomp and ceremony, I don't think. But I would stick with normal time, and then people know when it is.
Yeah, 6 p.m. Yeah. We'll leave it as it is. Leave it as it is. Right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the stream this evening. Sorry, we can't be talking about 3 points, but as Nick said, what we were beaten in 14 now, is it?
15.
15, I think.
Jesus, is it 15?
Yeah.
Yes, unbeaten in 15.
Ipswich last one, was it? We lost.
Yeah.
And someone, Josh just said we're going to beat Sunderland 4-0. We do the better teams. We do, Josh. We do it better against the better team. So, yeah. That's it. Thanks for joining us and up the pool.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
I can't think of anything. We normally have to say something to... There you go.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. That's another one. Just before we go. Do like and subscribe. We'll get the banner up. We're nearing 800, so if you've not subbed to the channel, please subscribe now. Get all your friends subscribing and get us over that 1,000 barrier just before the end of the season. Well, but yeah, anyway, go on, Tim. I
was going to say the last, where was it? The last game, which we won. No, the Easter Monday game. 1,500 listened. So the extra 700, just press that button and get us over that 1,000. Yeah. That's all we want.
Let's be having you.
Let's be having you.
Football supporters in all the world. Please subscribe to the Seasiders podcast. And up the pool anyway. See you all later.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.